Live from the Vancouver Convention Centre, it's the BC Founders Day Vibe Lounge with your host, Kevin Friel.
Hey everyone, Kevin Friel here at the BC Founders Day with Sam Pirzadeh. Just getting to know folks here that are bumping around, of course, inside of the BC community and beyond. What brings you here today, Sam?
Well, I'd like to stay close to the tech community, understand what's going on, understand what's coming through the pipeline in terms of new technologies and what just generally what people are working on. But one of the things that really excites me is just the environment, the vibrating environment of the tech community. When I come and meet, I just get a lot of energy, and I go back to work and do what I do.
That's so cool. It's such exciting times, in especially in the AI space, of course. What brought you to BC Founders Day? Who are you looking to connect with?
Good question. Well, what I do is our company acquires manufacturing companies across Canada. But after our acquisition, what we're focused on is implementing technologies and modernization of these companies. A lot of the companies that we acquire, their owners is from the boomer generation, and it's less likely that these guys would have technology implementation into their manufacturing companies. So I like to see what's happening in terms of technology entrepreneurship in the manufacturing space, especially in the AI space. Right now, we're talking about the age of AI. We have to prepare these companies for the next generation, which is the age of AI coming up, and staying connected to founders and their new ideas and what they're working on just gives me ideas, gives me a platform to go back and see what's possible from an implementation perspective.
Super fascinating. I mean, that transition point from, legacy manufacturing to, however that's going to pivot into the AI age. What are some of the hurdles that you're seeing in your clientele, and how do you shepherd them through that?
The biggest thing that I'm worried about is implementation and adaptability. People right now are a bit afraid of AI because they feel like it's going to replace them. But that's not true. The way I see AI is a tool that's going to enable people to just produce more and do more and make their jobs easier. So we can go automate the parts of people's jobs that they don't want to do. It's grunt work, is boring. They don't really like to do it anyways, and keep the exciting parts for themselves. So essentially, AI will be an assistant to them. That's how we see it, right?
Right.
And also we use AI for analytics of the mass amount of data that manufacturing can produce from production line data, from warehouse data, procurement, engineering, and all of that put together. One of the things that we like to do is an analysis of that data and extracting important information that will help us on the operational side.
Yeah, wow, super critical pieces, right? Like there's if we look at the analogy of like how manufacturing processes have evolved, it is quite an evolution of process. There's a lot of nuance in that, right? And now there's a supercharging capacity through AI, not only in knowledge extraction, but how to implement that further, right?
Yeah.
And enhance manufacturing processes in general.
Yeah.
What brought you in a focus to manufacturing in the first place? What kind of fired you up to tackle that region?
Number one, my experience. I'm by experience, I'm a manufacturer. By education, I'm a software engineer.
Okay.
So the two was brought together by educationally. I got an education in technology integration, and that was this first spark of passion for me for bringing technology into manufacturing. But why focus on manufacturing? Why Canadian manufacturing? Is because I believe after COVID, what we realized is that supply chain with full outsourcing is the wrong way to do it. And a lot of manufacturing, especially in core industries, strategic industries, are going to make a comeback in North America. But the only way they can be globally competitive is through automation and implementation of technology into these companies. That's the only way, because we cannot compete with East Asian countries, with some Middle Eastern countries on cost. We cannot, right? So we have to be as technology integrated and advanced as much as possible to be able to compete globally. So that's my passion. We want to acquire these companies to avoid a lot of these companies going down south and us losing on the economical value of them within Canada. We want to acquire them. We want to grow them across Canada, grow them beyond Canada's borders, and make them as efficient as possible through technology.
There's a lot of talk right now about data sovereignty.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of like, when you look at it, it's an ethereal sort of, intangible sort of like important product and material that we're all really concerned about in this new world climate.
Yeah.
I think you're really onto something that is hyper important, that we also look at hardware sovereignty.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And being able to source things as domestically as possible.
Yeah.
Not only for our own sort of like internal good, but to be competitive on a global scale.
Yes.
as everything evolves, right? That has to come with a lot of micro challenges, I imagine, besides, the automation and the competitiveness, I'm sure there's a whole lot of new, let's face it, bureaucratic challenges.
Yeah.
What are some of those that you can speak about that you're helping your clientele shepherd through?
The biggest thing that we see is the risk of the tariffs. That's the biggest issue.
Okay.
A lot of the companies that I see, they have a big exposure to the US. So what do we do from this point forward? We are where we are. It's from a trade policy perspective. We are in negotiations. We think we're going to land on something around maybe 15%, 10% tariff blanket overall. That's my bet. That's my prediction of what's going to happen. But what do we do from a manufacturing perspective? We have to diversify our supply chain. We have to look at Asian countries. We have to look at Europe as a market, and both on the supplier side and on the customer side. And we cannot rely on the US purely going forward as a market. The US market is always going to be there, but in order to be active within that market, you're going to have to go into that market and operate within that market.
Absolutely.
Which doesn't really gain anything on the Canadian side. So we have to diversify our markets. We have to diversify our suppliers and customers. That's the way I see we get past this, the biggest hurdle that we were facing. Thankfully, our government is removing interprovincial tariffs, which is going to absolutely help manufacturing in Canada.
Yeah.
Because manufacturing, as you know, is a very wide supply chain.
Yeah.
You can go back east for parts of your product acquisition. You can go back west, part of the product acquisition, but you're putting it together and then exporting it. If we're charging interprovincial tariffs to our own economy, we can never be globally competitive. So that's the other issue that I see has to be removed, and that's the next hurdle that we hope is going to get resolved by the current government.
Absolutely. No, it's amazing that the pressures of a changing world have finally confronted us to look at this interprovincial standpoint and paradox that has been ever present. And really make moves forward to knock those down. It's sad to see things evolve through pressure and changing relationships, but it feels like we're in a growing standpoint, at least policy wise, and certainly culturally, which informs policy overall if we really look at it, right? Is there any sort of particular province that is looking like very attractive as a manufacturing hub inside of Canada?
The biggest manufacturing hub in Canada is Ontario.
Yep.
That's the biggest manufacturing hub. But I see Alberta as a very good place that you can establish manufacturing companies because of the feasibility of running an operation there is insanely higher because of the cost perspective.
Right.
For manufacturers to be able to be profitable, it's a matter of managing the cost. And Alberta presents that. But in terms of market, the biggest market is Ontario.
Yeah. And that, if I intuit into that, looking at the expanse of our country, if we're able to establish like Alberta and Ontario as two big hubs of manufacturing, that's really strategic to service the massive expanse that our country has,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have the talent, we have the capital, we have the urgency in Canada. All we need is trade policy, just clarity. What is it going to be?
Yeah.
Right? If it's going to be tariff, what is it going to be? Just so that we can predict it, right?
Yeah.
And we need the interprovincial tariffs gone. When that's gone, Canada can thrive. But we also need investment within the manufacturing sector. We need capital to be able to upgrade what's already existing.
Yeah.
And we need to prepare the current manufacturing sector and prepare it for the age of artificial intelligence. We are behind in comparison to US, in comparison to Europe when it comes to efficiency. So technology integration will help push us higher and be able to compete with our competing markets and our neighbors.
Absolutely. And not only that, I would imagine like efficiency of getting the materials and resources that are already readily available within our country, like we're just selling it everywhere else for the most part, right? if we're able to find efficiencies in harnessing what's in our backyard, in our in our mountains and our rivers, and in as ecologically sound and economically sound ways as possible, we're in a really strong point. We just need that bridge to kick it all off, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Super fascinating, Sam. Like, you're tackling the big things that were big things cresting, and oh my God, they're here now.
Yeah.
And you're doing the good stuff here, and I can't wait to see what the fruits of your contemporaries' efforts are, your partners, and I know we're all going to win for it. So thank you for coming by and chatting with us. How can people connect with you and get a hold of you?
Well, they can find me on LinkedIn, Sam Pirzadeh. I'm from Pioneera Ventures.
Okay.
You can find us on our website, or you can find us on LinkedIn. Connect to us if you have a manufacturing company that you want it to be in good hands after the handoff, or if you want to scale, you want to partner to help you with the technology integration as well as the growth, but you want to stay in the business, you want to keep operating it, you can still reach us, and we can help you with that.
Cool stuff, Sam. Thank you so much for coming by. Yeah, Kevin Friel here at the Vancouver Convention Centre, BC Founders Day with Sam. Check us out at the BC AI ecosystem. We have meetups every month here in Vancouver. Sam, if you haven't been already, we'd love to have you.
For sure.
Come by. It's an amazing community. You're more than welcome to speak on stage as well. It's a vibrant, amazing community of people doing things.
I'd love the opportunity.
Awesome. That's what it's all about, folks. Over and out for now. Thank you very much for watching.